I still remember how the snow felt crunching under my boots that morning, crisp, clean, and biting cold. The kind of cold that wakes you up all the way to your bones. I had been driving for 6 hours straight, up the winding roads that led to the cabin my parents built when I was a kid, our family's old mountain home. I hadn't been there in years. Not since Dad passed. Not since everything went to hell with my sister, Laura. I wasn't even planning to go at first. Christmas was always her thing after Dad died. She took it over without asking, just declared herself the host because she lived closer to Mom. But this year, I'd been feeling something I couldn't explain. Maybe it was nostalgia, or guilt, or just the emptiness of spending holidays alone. So I packed my bags, bought a small bottle of bourbon, and drove up thinking maybe, just maybe, it was time to try again. I pulled into the driveway and instantly noticed the lights. Every inch of the house was glowing, fairy lights around the porch, a huge wreath on the front door, cars parked everywhere. It looked like some Hallmark postcard version of Christmas. I was confused. Mom had mentioned a big family gathering this year. In fact, the last I heard from her, she said she was spending it quietly with Laura. I stepped out of the car, took in the familiar scent of pine and wood smoke, and walked up the path. The closer I got, the more uneasy I felt. The windows were glowing warm, but I could hear laughter, loud, carefree, the kind that used to echo through the house when Dad was alive. I smiled for half a second before it hit me. Those voices didn't sound like family. I opened the door, half expecting the dogs to come running. Instead, I froze. There were people everywhere. Strangers. A dozen at least, holding champagne flutes and wearing matching sweaters. Christmas music played softly from the old record player in the corner, the one I bought Dad when I was 16. I didn't see a single familiar face until I heard her laugh. Laura. She was standing near the fireplace, holding court like some queen of the mountain, telling stories about her place. I just stood there, my boots dripping melted snow onto the floor, staring like an idiot. For a second, I thought maybe she didn't see me. But then she did. Her face dropped, then froze into that fake, polite smile she's always used when she's trying to act innocent. "Oh my God," she said, walking over with her arms half open. "I didn't know you were coming." I couldn't even answer at first. My chest was tight. "What do you mean you didn't know I was coming? This is my house, too." The room went awkwardly silent. People shifted uncomfortably. Laura gave a little laugh, the kind that sounds friendly but carries knives. "Well, technically it's the family cabin," she said. "But you haven't been here in years. I just wanted to make sure it stayed alive, you know?" Alive. That word burned. After Dad died, the cabin was supposed to be shared. Half mine, half hers. But I'd been working out of state, and when I came back a year later, Laura had already moved in. She said she was taking care of Mom, keeping the place warm, managing things. I believed her. I didn't fight it. I was grieving, and honestly, I didn't have the energy. But I never signed anything. I never gave it up. Now I was standing in what used to be our family's sacred space, surrounded by strangers drinking expensive wine while my sister smiled like a hostess on a reality show. I walked past her into the living room. The furniture was different. The photos on the mantel gone, replaced by perfectly staged prints of snowy landscapes and minimalistic art. Even Dad's old chair, the one he'd sit in every morning to drink coffee and read, was gone. My stomach dropped. "Where's Dad's stuff?" I asked quietly. Laura's smile faltered. "It was old, Jake. I donated some of it, sold a few pieces. You can't keep everything forever." Something inside me snapped. "You sold his things? Without even asking me?" I said louder than I meant to. Heads turned. Her friends stared like I was some unstable guest who'd wandered in from the woods. "Don't do this," she whispered. "Not tonight." "No, you don't do this," I said. "You don't throw a damn Christmas party in Dad's house and pretend I don't exist." Her husband, Mark, came over then. The guy never liked me, thought I was the family disappointment. "Jake," he said in that condescending tone, "maybe you should take a breath. Laura's been keeping this place up for years. You haven't exactly been around." I turned on him. Because I was working to help pay off Mom's medical bills. You think this place keeps itself running? Who do you think's been covering the taxes every year? That shut him up. Laura blinked like she didn't understand. You've been paying the taxes? She said, her voice small. Yeah, I said, my voice shaking now. Every damn year since Dad died. Because I didn't want this place to go under. I didn't do it for me. I did it because I thought we both cared. The silence that followed was suffocating. You could hear the fire crackling. I felt like I was going to break apart right there in front of everyone. Laura finally spoke. Jake, I didn't know. You didn't ask, I said. Her guests started quietly excusing themselves. Some mumbled goodbyes. Others pretended to check their phones. Within 10 minutes, the house was empty except for us. The party lights looked ridiculous now, flickering against the quiet storm outside. I sat down where Dad's chair used to be. The space felt hollow. Laura poured 2 glasses of wine and handed me one. I didn't take it. Why, Laura? I asked. Why would you just take it over like that? She sighed, rubbing her temples. I don't know. After Dad died, Mom needed me. I felt like I was the only one left holding it together. And when you didn't come back that first Christmas, I thought maybe you didn't want any part of this anymore. That's not true, I said. I stayed away because every time I came home, it felt like you'd already replaced me. Her eyes filled with tears then. I was angry, she admitted. You got out. You had your own life. I stayed here cleaning up everything, taking care of her, watching the house fall apart. I guess I started thinking of it as mine, because it was all I had left. I didn't know what to say. I was furious, but underneath it, I understood her. We were both grieving in different ways, just on opposite sides of the same wound. After a long silence, I finally said, we need to fix this. Together. No more pretending. She nodded, quietly wiping her face. Yeah, we do. We spent the rest of the night packing away decorations and talking about things we hadn't talked about in years. Dad's last week in the hospital, Mom's memory slipping, the fights, the guilt. It wasn't easy. There were moments I wanted to scream again, moments she broke down. But something shifted that night. When I woke up the next morning, the storm had cleared. Sunlight hit the snow in that soft, golden way it only does up there. Laura was sitting on the porch, 2 mugs of coffee in her hands. She handed me one and said, I called Mom this morning. We told her we're going to host Christmas together next year. For real this time. For the first time in a long time, I believed her. We still have a lot to work through, lawyers, ownership papers, years of bitterness that won't disappear overnight. But that morning, watching the smoke rise from the chimney of our father's house, I finally felt something like peace. I don't know what the future looks like for me, and